Archangel Michael says, someone recognized your name during a private conversation, and everything shifted in the unseen realm. This moment was not a coincidence. It was an unveiling. It started simply, a conversation between two people just a few tables away. You didn't know them, and they weren't speaking loudly. But then, one of them said your name. They didn't just repeat it casually. They leaned in. Their tone dropped. Their body language changed. The one who heard your name went still, like someone who just encountered a ghost from their past, or a key to something important. They looked around cautiously, eyes scanning the room, unaware that heaven was watching them even before you walked through the door. The atmosphere grew tense. The air shifted. This wasn't admiration. It wasn't nostalgia. It was alert, because your name carries weight, and it stirred something in their memory, their plans, or even their conscience. This person didn't hear your name by chance. They had heard of you before. Someone had spoken about you to them in private, and not kindly. There are conversations happening in the dark, behind your back, in spaces you don't see. Some people are using your name to manipulate a narrative, to test loyalties, or to shape an image that is not aligned with your truth. The individual who reacted to your name is not the core enemy, but they are connected to the one who is orchestrating a scheme behind the scenes. There is someone close to your circle, possibly a mutual acquaintance or a former friend, who has been planting seeds of doubt in the minds of others regarding you. This person may be charming, persuasive, or appear spiritual, but their heart has grown dark with envy. What happened in that restaurant was a divine interception. Heaven allowed your name to be spoken in that moment so that the hidden web of deceit could begin to unravel. This was not just about someone hearing your name, it was about heaven exposing who is watching you, why they're watching you, and what they plan to do with the information they believe they have. Archangel Michael says, "You are being warned now, not to create fear, but to awaken your discernment." The spiritual realm is never silent. Every word carries energy. And your name is a spiritual banner. When it's spoken with love, it attracts angels. When it's used with malice, it stirs attention from both heaven and hell. Type Amen 998 to get the divine light. Be vigilant. Not paranoid, but prayerful. What was meant to be a private moment of peace was used by the enemy as a moment of surveillance. But heaven turned it into a moment of exposure. This is only the beginning of what shall soon come fully to light. You are not alone. I am with you, standing guard. More will be revealed, but for now, take this message seriously. Someone recognized your name because they've heard whispers meant to distort your truth. But I, Michael, will make sure the truth rises louder than the lies. You may be tempted to brush this incident off as nothing more than coincidence, someone hearing your name in a public place, reacting, and then carrying on. But I, Archangel Michael, must make it clear, this moment was not random. It was spiritually engineered, orchestrated with precision by the higher realms. What you perceived as ordinary was, in truth, part of a divine surveillance mission, heaven watching over you, and darkness trying to track your movements. You see, in the spiritual realm, your name is not just a label, it is a spiritual frequency, a signature that resonates with your calling, your light, and your destiny. When your name is spoken, whether in joy or jealousy, it sends ripples into the unseen. This is why the reaction in that restaurant was so intense, because your name is rising, and not everyone is at peace with that. Some individuals are watching you not because they admire you, but because they are confused, threatened, or misled. There are those who cannot comprehend how someone like you, who has been through so much, who walks humbly and quietly, could carry such spiritual power and divine favor. And so, they whisper. They investigate. They test the waters. Archangel Michael says. Archangelic forces were present in that restaurant. Angels stood at the corners of the room, monitoring the atmosphere. They recorded not just what was said, but the spirit behind the words. And heaven noted that what took place was not an accidental encounter, but an attempt, a test run, to observe your responses and gather information. Who sent them? That is still hidden, but heaven knows. Someone behind the scenes, likely connected to a former relationship, a family dispute, or even a work conflict, is trying to resurrect your name in toxic circles. They are trying to make you look unstable, untrustworthy, or undeserving. But here is what they didn't anticipate: your name is protected by divine decree. Yes, you are marked. But you are not marked for failure, you are marked for heaven's intervention. What the enemy intended as silent surveillance, God is using as a setup for public vindication. They think they are watching you, but it is heaven that watches them, and their plans are already falling apart under the weight of divine scrutiny. Type Amen 768 to get the divine light. This moment is your wake-up call. It's time to pray not only for protection, but for discernment and wisdom. Guard your conversations. Be mindful of what you share, even in casual settings. Understand that the enemy no longer attacks only in the shadows, he infiltrates through conversations, through technology, through people who seem harmless. But be encouraged, I, Michael, and the heavenly hosts are surrounding your name. Every plot is being exposed. Every false narrative is being intercepted. And every person sent to observe you under false motives is being brought into the light. This was not coincidence, it was a divine signal that heaven is tracking what's being said about you, and who's been sent to gather the information. What they meant as quiet manipulation will become a loud reversal in your favor. There was someone else in that restaurant, not just the person who reacted to your name, but a woman sitting a few tables away, with a red bag placed neatly on her lap. She seemed calm. Observant. She wasn't part of your conversation, nor did she speak to the person who reacted, but she was watching. Archangel Michael says. This woman was not there by accident. She had been sent. Whether she knew your face or only your name, she recognized something, and that recognition triggered a response. She may have looked away quickly, pretending disinterest. But then, she did something that changes everything: she wrote something down. It could have been in a small notebook. Perhaps it was her phone. She typed something quickly, discreetly, but with intent. She wasn't journaling or answering a message. She was recording data. Details. Clues. Perhaps your name. Perhaps a physical description. Or perhaps a confirmation: yes, I saw them. They were here. They were talking about something you never intended to be overheard. Type Amen 495 to get the divine light. This woman, cloaked in casualness, was likely acting under instruction. Someone else, unseen in that moment, is the orchestrator. The woman with the red bag may be an assistant, a gossip-driven informant, or someone paid to keep tabs. What she documented could be passed along to someone who has been searching for leverage against you. But what kind of leverage? That's the sinister twist. They don't want the truth, they want something they can manipulate. A name. A location. A photo. A misquoted phrase. Anything they can twist to suggest something false, harmful, or controversial about you. They seek to weaponize perception, because they can't control your reality. Heaven intervened the moment her pen touched the page, or her finger hit send. A divine record of her action was made, and angels were dispatched to ensure that no harm would come from it. But you are being informed now so that you may understand, spiritual warfare isn't always loud and dramatic. Sometimes, it happens in quiet cafes, at neighboring tables, with seemingly innocent faces and kind smiles. The woman in the red bag is not your enemy, but she is being used by one. She may not even realize how far the ripples of her small action could reach. And yet, heaven does. That's why you're being shown this. Not to fear her, but to stand guard over your destiny. You are not meant to hide. You are meant to shine. But part of shining is recognizing when shadows are trying to silently mimic the light. That's what this woman was sent to do, not confront, but observe and report. Archangel Michael now charges you, seal your name in prayer. Ask for divine concealment from those who seek your downfall. Speak blessings over your presence. Anoint your conversations, your words, and your environment. Because what the enemy meant to use as surveillance, God will now flip into supernatural protection and strategic advantage. This woman thought she was gathering ammunition. But heaven has already turned it into a record of justice. You will not be harmed. You are being preserved. And the truth will soon come crashing through every lie whispered in the shadows. Type Amen 4959 to get the divine light. Archangel Michael says, you may not yet grasp the weight of what was almost unleashed against you. But I, Archangel Michael, must tell you plainly, there is a misrepresentation plot that has been forming quietly, stealthily, designed to damage your name, not with outright lies, but with twisted truths. The conversation that took place in that restaurant was part of it. Your words, your presence, your reputation, they are being observed, misunderstood on purpose, and shaped into a version of you that doesn't exist. This is not about gossip alone. This is spiritual warfare disguised as casual chatter. The enemy has deployed people who appear polite, soft-spoken, even helpful, but they are trained in the art of manipulation. They use innuendo, they quote you out of context, and they act as if they are simply concerned or curious. But in truth, they are crafting a false narrative, a distorted mirror held up to make others question your motives, your identity, your truth. And here is the strategy: to take something real, your past, a weakness, a mistake, a comment, and bend it just enough so that it no longer reflects the light, but instead casts a shadow. These people don't need to fully lie to ruin you. They just need to plant doubt in the right ears. The goal is to create confusion. To make others pause before trusting you. To make you second-guess yourself. But heaven will not allow it. I, Michael, have drawn my sword of truth over your name. Angels have been assigned to confuse their tongues, scramble their communications, and intercept any attempts to spread their twisted version of you. But more importantly, you are being warned now so that you do not give them more ammunition, do not engage in fruitless conversations, do not reveal your plans too openly, and do not assume that every smile is genuine. You are being shielded not just from the enemy's words, but from spiritual contamination. If their misrepresentation had gone unchecked, it could have led to legal trouble, damaged opportunities, or broken relationships. But because you are covered in divine favor, the Lord has stepped in early to intercept it before it grows teeth. Type Amen 4095 to get the divine light. Still, your cooperation is essential. You must become vigilant over your speech, your associations, your digital footprint. There are eyes on your photos. Ears tuned to your tone. People are watching not to celebrate you, but to catch you slipping. And if they can't find something real, they'll fabricate something close enough. Heaven is reversing this plan as we speak. But you must act, too. Guard your spirit. Walk in integrity. Speak life over your name. Declare boldly. I will not be falsely represented. My truth will speak louder than their whisper. I am covered, seen, and defended by the armies of heaven. This is more than gossip, it's an attempt to sabotage your assignment. But I promise you, they will not succeed. Their plan is already collapsing. And what was meant to damage your reputation will soon become the very thing God uses to elevate your name in unexpected places. Let me remind you of something the enemy hopes you forget: your name carries spiritual power. It is not just a combination of letters or a label for earthly use. Your name holds the weight of your purpose, the favor on your life, and the divine assignments attached to your soul's journey. And that is why it's being whispered, not in celebration, but in cautious curiosity, envy, and even fear. You may not fully realize it, but your presence provokes response. People sense something different about you, even when you say nothing. Your resilience, your wisdom, your light, it unsettles those who are still trapped in deception. Some have even tried to imitate your energy or attach themselves to your journey because they thought it would benefit them. But when you grew stronger in your discernment and detached from what no longer aligned, they turned. And now, they are using your name in conversations you were never meant to hear. But heaven hears it all. I, Archangel Michael, have walked through those rooms where your name was spoken in secret. I've stood silently in places where people projected assumptions, spun half-truths, and debated your value. And I must tell you this: your name is not just surviving the slander, it is becoming purified through it. There is a reason the enemy keeps stirring up your name. It's because your next season is near. You are closer than ever to a breakthrough that will shift everything. And what's happening now is a last-minute strategy to delay you, to drag you into unnecessary conflict, to wear you down emotionally, or to make you question your own worth. But the enemy has miscalculated. Type Amen 589 to get the divine light. Archangel Michael says, because instead of retreating, you are awakening. Instead of hiding, you are beginning to rise in boldness. And that's exactly what heaven wants, for you to realize that the attention on your name is not a threat, it's evidence. It means you're becoming a threat to darkness. It means your light is burning so brightly that even those in denial can't ignore it anymore. So here is what I charge you to do now. Speak blessing over your name every morning. Say, my name is favored in the heavens and the earth. I am known, loved, and chosen by God. Every whisper against me is turned into a divine witness for my victory. Refuse to participate in self-sabotage. Don't shrink because others are uncomfortable. Don't downplay your calling to make others feel safe in their limitations. Remember that heaven knows your name more intimately than anyone else ever could. God doesn't just know your name, He wrote it on His hand. Isaiah 49 verse 16. People whisper names they secretly admire. They attack what they don't understand. And they try to bring down what they fear might rise higher than them. That's what's happening to you right now. But I, Michael, promise you this, your name will rise in honor while theirs fall into silence. You are not forgotten. You are not misunderstood in heaven. What they've spoken about you will soon be drowned out by what God is speaking over you. Type Amen 4985 to get the divine light. There is something more that must be revealed. I, Archangel Michael, urge you to take this moment seriously, not in fear, but with sharpened awareness. For what happened in that restaurant did not end with whispers and glances. There was a waiter, someone who passed by your table more times than necessary. Someone whose gaze lingered longer than it should have. Someone who wasn't just doing their job, they were listening. And not just that. Heaven has shown me, there may have been a hidden camera, perhaps embedded in a phone propped up nearby, or subtly recording through a device not easily noticed. A phone angled just right. A smartwatch activated. A laptop opened but unmoving. These tools weren't there for casual use, they were intentionally positioned. Someone was trying to capture your presence, your voice, your words. And the waiter? They were more than just a server. Whether consciously or unconsciously, they were involved. This person recognized your name, or even your face, before you arrived. They had already been told to watch out for you. Perhaps they were paid. Perhaps they were manipulated. But their actions were not pure. There was a reason they hovered, why they didn't bring your order on time, why they smiled with eyes that seemed too knowing. They were gathering information. But I need you to understand something deeper. This is not just about surveillance, it's about spiritual access. The enemy often uses public places to tap into private patterns. And restaurants, where your guard is down, where you speak freely, are prime territory for strategic spiritual eavesdropping. It may sound dramatic, but the spiritual war around you is real. And you are not just a person, they see you as a key. A threat. A gate to something divine. The one who sent the instructions to watch you is connected to someone in your personal history. Possibly an ex-lover, a former friend, or even a family member who has grown resentful of your favor. This person has been gathering pieces of your life, trying to find something to control, expose, or use against you. The waiter may have snapped a photo. The woman with the red bag may have shared your location. And all of it could have been used to start a digital trail, a false narrative, or even a legal complaint. But take comfort, for heaven stepped in. Type Amen 4985 to get the divine light. Archangel Michael says. The recording has been spiritually scrambled. The photo, blurred by divine interference. The conversations captured. Heaven has already begun confusing their interpretations. The truth cannot be twisted when it is protected by the Most High. You may not know exactly what they intended to do with the data, but I, Michael, tell you, they will not succeed. Still, you must be wise moving forward. Be aware of your surroundings. Pray over your phone, your devices, your voice. Anoint your space before you speak in public. Cover your identity in light before you go out. This is not paranoia, it is spiritual preparation. The next time someone recognizes you unexpectedly, don't just smile. Pray. The next time a waiter seems too attentive, ask for discernment. You are in a time of heightened visibility, both spiritually and socially, and you must walk with holy caution. But fear not. I am defending your every step. No weapon, no whisper, and no recording formed against you shall prosper. Now that the layers of truth have been peeled back, now that you know your name has been whispered, your presence tracked, and your movements possibly monitored, Archangel Michael, come not only to warn but to instruct. You are not powerless. You are not a victim. You are a vessel of light under divine protection. But you must now cooperate with heaven to seal the open doorways and cleanse the words spoken in secret. First, understand this: spiritual doorways are not always opened through rituals or curses. Sometimes, they open through careless conversations, through unprotected sharing, through naive trust in those who don't carry your best interest in their hearts. Every time you shared something sensitive with someone who later betrayed that trust, a doorway was cracked open. Every time your name was repeated in jealousy or mockery, a word portal was formed. But now it is time to shut them. Type Amen 894 to get the divine light. I instruct you to pray aloud today. By divine authority and angelic power, I close every spiritual doorway open through slander, betrayal, or unauthorized access. I command that every misused word, every twisted perception, and every false record tied to my name be cleansed by the fire of truth. This is not just symbolic. It is spiritual law. Heaven responds to declarations of authority spoken in faith. When you speak this, angels are released to sweep through the realms and close the breaches that gave the enemy access to your name, your image, or your energy. Next, you must cleanse the words, both those spoken against you and those spoken by you in haste or vulnerability. The enemy often uses what you yourself have said in weakness to build a false case. But heaven is merciful. Even your missteps can be redeemed. Now, let's talk about protection. Before you step into another public place, whether it's a restaurant, a meeting, or even a phone call, seal yourself in light. This is a spiritual armor. Envision light wrapping around your name, your voice, your energy, and your shadow. And don't forget your digital life. Clean your social media. Be selective with your posts. Guard your location data. The enemy seeks patterns, but when you walk in divine wisdom, you become unpredictable and untraceable in the spirit. Lastly, I give you this holy affirmation. Type Amen 499 to get the divine light. You are not alone in this. You never were. The warnings are not to cause fear, but to awaken your authority. Now, seal what was once left open. Cleanse what was once contaminated. And prepare, because your vindication is near. Archangel Michael says, now that all has been brought into the light, it's time for the final truth to be revealed. What the enemy meant for harm is being turned into divine positioning. Yes, this strange event in the restaurant, this unsettling recognition of your name, this attempt to monitor or manipulate, it is all being flipped by heaven into favor. Because what the enemy doesn't know, is that someone else was listening too. There was another person nearby that day. Not the woman with the red bag. Not the waiter. Not the one who whispered your name like it was a secret code. No, this person remained still and silent, but something stirred within them when they heard your name. They felt a divine pull. A soft nudge from within, almost as if heaven said to them, pay attention to that one. This individual is connected to your destiny. They may be a future helper, mentor, or gatekeeper to an opportunity. They didn't hear your name by accident, they heard it on divine assignment. And now, because of that overheard conversation, they are praying about you, considering you, seeking confirmation. They're being guided by a higher hand to connect with you at the right moment. You see, what the enemy thought was a trap, heaven turned into a prophetic setup. Type Amen 6785 to get the divine light. You are entering a season of reversal. The very table where your name was whispered in scheming is the table God is preparing for you in the presence of your enemies. Psalm 23 verse 5. The very people trying to pull you down will be forced to witness your rising. The very data they tried to collect to discredit you will become evidence of your favor. But for this blessing to be unlocked, you must be ready. Ready to forgive but remain discerning. Ready to walk boldly even while being watched. Ready to carry your calling without apology, even when misunderstood. There is no more time to question your worth or dim your light. What has happened in secret is being judged by heaven, and the scales are tipping in your favor. Justice is being served. And not only will the lies be silenced, your name will rise in places you never imagined. I, Michael, say this to you clearly: stand tall now. Stand in the full stature of who God has made you to be. Don't retreat from visibility. Don't hide because someone tried to monitor you. Instead, walk forward with angelic backing, knowing that the very forces sent to harm you have unintentionally confirmed how important you truly are. This is a prophetic moment. And you are being ushered into it by fire and truth. What you do now matters. Type Amen 498 to get the divine light. Speak blessings over your name. Prepare your heart for divine connections. Stay alert, stay clean, and stay confident. Your name is no longer just being whispered, it's being announced in heaven. And the next time someone recognizes your name in a room, it won't be in suspicion. It will be with respect, divine admiration, and alignment. Get ready. A blessing is coming through this exposure, and when it arrives, it will change everything.